9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
My personal belief is that there is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
There has been and is an existing presence, an ET presence. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to change reality.
I believe, as do the other folks that were on the flight, that when we visually saw it, that it was something not from this world.
GUFON Radio.
Or you were either out, brother.
But the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
GUFON Radio.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
You're listening to GUFON Radio with Rich Giordano.
All right. Welcome to GUFON, everybody. Yeah, we're getting the colors down. I got like this bluish vibe behind me, man. Kind of cool. I don't know. Things are getting a little weird around here. Welcome, everyone. So, it is, yep, COVID, September 17th. Is it Thursday? Yep, 2020. Best day of my life. In a way, yeah. It was a good day. Yeah, the good day just happened a few hours ago. So, kind of shit. You know when things have to be said and have to be done because the right time never happens? I'm glad. And if they are watching, I'm not sorry. And I won't be. And that's that. Yeah, there was a whole family, big family fight at the Giordano household. Guess what it was about? No, not the meatballs. Who said that? They would never be about meatballs. Ever. Oh, we got super chats. Oh, Long Island Bigfoot, $5 super chat. That's awesome, man. Giddy up. What does it say? Get up. And Zen Master Me with the 99-cent super chat. Thank you, guys. Man, is there any more? What'd you guys do? You guys are phenomenal, really. Thank you so much. Just to start. And it's motivating. Hey, did something happen? Oh, I'm seeing the delay. There's like a 10-second delay. So, thank you for that. That's unbelievable. Start. We just take off running. You all right? We just take off, go running. The show just starts. I'm already saying big fight at the Giordano household. If I got into it, you might choose sides. No, you wouldn't. I promise you. Let me just give you an example. Hold on. Cottonmouth. Oh, I know it's sugar and I don't care. Diabetes. Please do your job. So we talk politics. And my mother always told me, well, not always, just recently said, your nephew, you can't talk politics around him. He's so far left. My mother's 76, I think, 77, and he did the same thing to me tonight, which was kind of comical. He goes, you guys should thank me for the knowledge I have. I'm only 28 years old, and I know more than you. You should be thanking me about politics. I said, he goes, do you think this and that? And I go, let me ask you this. Since you have so much world experience, never worked a day in his life. This is the kind of kid who thinks everything's owed to him. His parents really babied him. And to keep him out of the way, like when they go on vacation, they took him with them. But they had enough money, they'd take his friend, but they weren't allowed to leave the hotel room, so they played video games. That's going to Hawaii, and they stayed in the hotel room playing video games for 5 days. How do you go to Hawaii and not go in the beach? That's this kid. So he's the typical entitled, you owe me because I'm a person and you should never raise your voice. Oh, you should have heard him screaming tonight. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was great because he's a sociopath, never shows emotion. And I'm afraid. I won't say why, but I think he's a little bit gone because he doesn't like talking to people because he can't. I don't want to talk to them. I could smell them and you can get sick just from being around somebody. And he's got all these weird things about having everything so clean. Like if there was a drip or something on the carton, he would take a napkin and pour it. I'm like, wow, your parents really fucked you up, man. So anyway, he says, so I go, you have no life experiences at all. At all. The only life experience you have is the internet. I go, where do you get your news from? I almost lost it. He says, Twitter and Twitch. He goes, oh, I don't watch that mainstream stuff. Twitter and Twitch. I laughed so hard. You could just see the confidence just drain out of him. I was like, you're an idiot. You really are. But he says, it's so funny. I'm only 28 years old yet. I'm teaching you. I said, how many black friends you have? None. You don't qualify for this conversation. Yeah, 2 black people went to his whole school in 4 years. That's where he comes from. So don't talk to me about having life experience. Hey, Matt, you ever talk to a senator or governor and ask them questions? No. No, that's right. You don't leave the house. He doesn't leave. He's like UFO Jesus. He's got that white skin just like that. He won't leave the house. Is afraid of everything. He said, my parents were talking about, he's living with my parents because his own parents kicked him out for not working at 21 years old. So they said, if you don't have a job by 21, you have to get out. Wouldn't you agree? They kicked him out. And he lied to everybody, saying, I'm living on the streets, which we don't know if that's true. He was living with friends, you know. Yeah, I've done that. But he says, I almost got mugged and murdered because these homeless people wanted to take my stuff. So my mother took him in 8 years ago. And he's still playing video games. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But get a job, dude. Contribute to society. How could you ever be that dumb to think you're going to tell me about life? And you never left the house and you get your news from Twitch? You're a fucking idiot. I told him, you're an idiot. You are actually stupid. I can't believe how you're a smart guy, but you're really stupid. So my mother goes, Richie, and I go, Ma, he doesn't understand. He's going to talk to you like that? And then he goes, I hate this fucking family. I hate this family. And then we all said at the same time, so get the fuck out. You hate it so much. You guys are racist. I go, you don't have any black friends. I do. Not saying that doesn't make me a racist, but, you know, I'm making a point. I'm not racist, but I'm just making a point. He never socialized with any black people or any Hispanics. All his friends were white, purebred, football team, wrestling guys, baseball, you know. He hung out with probably racists. So you don't think there's a racist problem in America? Yeah, there is, but it's being overblown by Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And he goes, oh yeah, listen to Fox because they tell you everything you need to know. And I go, it's what makes sense, and there's proof on that. It's all conjecture. It's all, what's that one word that starts with an A? I can't remember. He said it like 9 times. And I turned it around on him, and I'm like, yeah, but you're saying the same thing that I'm saying, but that doesn't make you a hypocrite? I fucking hate this family. I said, don't say that after my parents gave you a roof over your head while your parents kicked you out 8 years ago. How dare you say that? You're so disrespectful. And as I'm leaving and we're still yapping a little bit, and my parents are like, all right, that's enough. And my mother knows because she gets so mad at him because he did the same thing to her. He says, you should be glad you know me, because I am giving you information that you just blindly refuse to believe. And when I found out he gets his information from Twitch and Twitter, I just said, wow, confirmed everything. I'm not saying there's no right thing, being said on Twitch or Twitter, but I wish he would have said the New York Times, but he doesn't read. He just watches videos. And TikTok, I think, might be another one. I'm gonna go on TikTok. I'm gonna learn about Trump on Twitch today. Wait, I got a game. Matt, you gotta get a job today. You need to work. You need to pay us rent. As long as you keep enabling me, I will stay here uninhibited. I said, my parents clothe you, feed you, give you money, and you disrespect them by saying that? Fuck you. And I'm leaving and I hear, oh, you're a fucking bitch. And I said, what did you say? Did you just call me a bitch? And my mother goes, he didn't say that. And I go, did you just call me a bitch? And he goes, I did. Yeah, I called you a bitch. And he puts his water bottle down like he wants to front. He wants to get in front. And he's hiding behind my mother. who's now in between us. My dad is now coming in on the side with his cane. And let's just say it was pretty bad. I said, you do hide behind my mother, you fucking pussy. So he starts trying to get around her, and I go, just fucking come on. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he goes, ah! And the only thing that's running through my mind is that person screaming when Trump won the presidency, that Democrat person. I said, wow, your parents really fucked you up, man. You are one fucked up sociopath. I just had to leave at that point. At that point, I just didn't care. You're not worth my time. And I hope they're watching, because I will not ever be in that house if he's there, because I will go after him. I don't like him. As a matter of fact, it's more than not like. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. He's very disrespectful. And his grandmother's dying. And all he's thinking about is the money that he's going to inherit. It's a lot of money. But he thinks he's not going to get it right away. There's stipulations. You got to work 40 hours a week. If you can't prove that you work 40 hours, and I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to be on top of this every inch of the way. I'm going to make sure he's working 40 hours a week, because I will be there with camera in hand if he's not at work. Oh, yeah. I am not letting this go. And my dad, I won't come over if he's there. And yeah, I'm going to make you choose. Because and I won't come to the wedding after Christmas if he's there. My sister's remarrying his mother. And of course, if he's living there, which he will be in 3 months, by the way, who has a wedding the day after Christmas or 2 days after? I said, that is fucking the worst time. I said, man alive, just go get married in a chapel somewhere. Yeah, fucking ruin everybody's holiday. Now I got to break up my holiday and go to a wedding, spend more money on your wedding gift when I have family and COVID, and I don't have it's like all these people have money anyway, so it's not like they won't get gifts or anything. But I said that is the most awful time to have a wedding. 2 days after Christmas. I'm not going. I won't go. Me and my sister don't get along anyway. She never liked me. She tried to kill me twice when we were kids. That I know of. It's probably more. Yeah, by hip checking me, walking by the stairs, she bumped me and I'd go flying down 2 flights of stairs, It's how my finger got bent. It got caught in the designs, the little metal things they had in between, and the awning on the way down. I tried grabbing it, and it twisted my finger around. That broke my nose. My nose was broke. She pushed me down the stairs. I learned about 3 times when I was 3 years old. And then when I fell down the stairs, my mother was on the phone. And she goes, Richie, stop horsing. I go, she pushed me down the stairs. No, I didn't. And my mother didn't believe me, and I was pissed. And that happens a lot when you're the youngest. My sister, for some reason, did not like me. Still doesn't. Don't know why. I guess she thinks I got away with a lot of stuff. My God, I don't think so. Sorry, you got away with more shit than I did. It's amazing the things you remember. She remembers things one way. I remember them another way. It's all based on your experience and your thought. And we can use that as an example for tonight's show. You know, the human memory can get distorted by emotions and adrenaline. Shit, the half the shit I just told you that happened, I mean, it's the way I interpret it, but I'm sure he's got a different way of telling the story. But I think I'm pretty balls on accurate about what happened because it was just 2 hours ago. And this kid, he thinks he's almost 30 years old. How would you like to be 30 and you have no future at all? I don't know. I don't remember how it happened, but I think his parents at one time gave him money or somebody gave him money and he was going to move out. I don't know what happened. And he moved into an apartment in June or July with a couple other guys. And they called his mom. We're sweating. It's 90 degrees in here. She's like, turn on the air conditioner. It's not working. So she goes over there, a few minutes away. And she goes, where's the air conditioner? He goes, right here. She said, that's not the air conditioner. This is. Oh, it didn't work. He didn't know how to turn on the air conditioner. None of them did. They did not know how to. Do you hear what I'm saying? Not one of these three guys knew how to turn on the air conditioner. Anyway, he saw a bug and he moved out because he saw a bug. I can't live there. I can't live there. He put his bed, the mattress, and he made it off the ground with chairs like you would when you were 6 years old. Because he didn't have a bed yet. He didn't go out and get it like a responsible person does. First thing you buy is a bed. Unbelievable. It's my sister's fault and her husband and his father, who's now passed away a few years ago. But his father wanted to beat the shit out of him too. I mean, it was bad. But his father is a dick, was a dick. And it's his fault and my sister's fault for not backing up, sticking up. He was verbally abused. I get all that. I get that. I mean, he didn't have it easy growing up because of his father. I get that. But there's a point in your life where you have to say enough is enough, but he won't get to that point because my mother and I guess now my father doesn't want him there. They keep enabling him. And my mother would say, well, then I'm enabling you too. I said, no, it's totally different. It's not even the same. I've had job after job. I never went jobless until just recently. I've always had a job, always worked. I like working. I don't know why, but I like working. Even if it's something I don't like, I'm doing something I could deal with. Till something else came along and I'd get bored and something else would come along and I'd do it. But I was never without a paycheck. He says, oh, I have a job with YouTube. I play video games. I made $250. And I go, wow, a day? No, a month. Oh, so you don't even have to pay taxes yet. You fucking loser. Anyway, that's what happened. And the reason I bring that up is it's because I'm not myself. I could tell I'm not. And, I know there's people out there who have kids like this. But now I would say he's a good person and all that, but I have never seen anything good come from him. It's always been about him. Like, I'm not doing that. I can't go outside. It's hot. I'm not going to help. Like, my dad has Parkinson's and falls 2-3 times a day. He's bruised up. He had to go to the hospital. He broke his head open. And my dad's out there trying to bring in an umbrella, and he sees him. My mother tells me the story. She goes, I was watching to see if he would go help your father. And he just watched your father lifting this big umbrella in the wind, and he didn't even care. He didn't help him. He sees us with groceries and heavy stuff, and he won't even hold the door for us. You give him a roof over your head? Wow. That is the reason why I never wanted kids, because if I had a kid like that, I wouldn't live with myself. I don't know. I just, to be a human and to not experience life, it's just odd. And I know there's a lot of people out there like him, now more than ever, in that age range. How do you not want to? I don't see the reason to go outside. People suck. No, you suck. The world is what you make of it. You suck. And it's a shame. I went over there in such a good mood too. I went and got food, picked up Mexican food, came home. We were all eating. Very good. Great. It was like one of the best times I was having. I was feeling pretty good. I get to see mom and dad, and they're doing all right. And I don't know how it started. Oh, it started out with the talk of my father says, did you see in the football game? I asked him, I go, did you see the Cardinal game? Yeah, can you believe this? And my mother goes, they were kneeling in during the national anthem. They now have a black national anthem. And I'm like, what? Yeah, they call it the black national anthem. I'm like, you're joking. No, it's true. And I go, get out of here. But I heard the national anthem. Yeah, they don't play it on TV but they will play the normal national anthem or sing it or whatever. And then I saw that they're changing the name of a street in Arizona. The street is called Robert E. Lee. And they're changing it to Squaw Peak Drive. And I'm like, what? And I hear him say, good. And I'm like, good? I go, why? And he goes, they should take down everything, destroy the monuments, and whatever, the presidents, I can't think. They should take all that shit down. I go, why? I go, if it wasn't for this country, the best country in the world, mind you, and he rolls his eyes, and I'm like, oh, that's right. You never had a job, so you wouldn't know what it's to be like to contribute to this great country. You don't even pay taxes, so you wouldn't know. My mother's like, Richie. And I'm like, he hasn't. I'm not lying. Oh, and then he says, oh, and all you want to do is be racist. And I go, when have I been? I go, forget about me. When has Trump been racist? I said, tell me one thing Trump has done racist. And he couldn't. And it just continued. And I said, you can't take down history. Oh, this country was built on slavery. And I go, black people had slaves. Where do you think we learned it from, you fucking idiot? You stupid schmuck. You don't even know the history of slavery, and you're talking to me? You don't even know what you're talking about. Twitch and Twitter. It wasn't just white people who had slaves. White people had a lot of money. And white people, yeah, they came here and took the land, however you want to say it, bought it, whatever, and built the country you live in now. And you think it's okay to burn the flag and to remove the statues? Well, if they all, I go, everything has to do. It's a racist country. Yes, it's horrible. What do you want from me? I didn't start it. I didn't think I'd talk about it for this long. I apologize. But it's a very touchy subject. I can't believe I've been talking for 30 minutes. I just looked at the clock. Oh, my God. Ancient alien theories debunked. Oh, my God. Is there a chat room on? I didn't check, guys. I didn't even do roll call. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. All right, let's get started. Roll call! Hey, DJ, this country was built on the premise of freedom and equality for all. Exactly. Yeah, but, you know, the far left, that all they see, and I brought this up, and I go, did you know Hitler was actually a good guy? He goes, yeah, I know. And I go, wow, you didn't freak out about that? Oh, I'm sure he did some good. Oh, man, you're really a piece of work. Yeah, even though Hitler was killed how many millions of people, he did some good things too. But the bad, he didn't, I think I found out about this recently. Didn't Hitler create the highway system, like how highways work and shit like that? I mean, you wouldn't say that's a bad thing, but Hitler's fucking evil. So even though there may be racism and slavery and shit like that, they built this great country with the intent of what DJ said, freedom and equality for all. And you know what? You get a bunch of people together, they won't get along, man. You get two people together, they'll get along. But that crowd mentality starts something. It's like a pact. You know, it's like that dog pack. You get 1 or 2 dogs, okay. Get 8 to 10, you know, they all start going crazy. Get off of me, get off of me. I can imagine the kid tonight felt like he was being teamed up. So I wasn't being that bad. I tried to back it up, but he would take it just to that step that you shouldn't cross. And when you say this family sucks, you're racist, and I know that's not true. Especially this family sucks that took you in and feed you for the last decade. You piece of shit. Hey, Kaylee, how you doing? Hey, good to meet you. How you doing? Good to see you guys back. Coral Ann in the TV said, you being good today, girl. You're not going to stay in that TV tonight. Tina, I saw her. I know ya. How you doing? Hey, Dark Hour Paranormal. How you doing, big guy? Great show today. Interviewed Alien Addict today. By the way, it must be great to get Alien Addict on your show. I've been trying to get him on my show, but, you know, he's ducking me, so I don't really appreciate that. No, but it was a great interview. I'm going to listen to the rest later, but I'm glad you, Alien Addict, he's a great guy. He does great interviews, has a great channel, so it was good. And I understand you're going to go on there soon, too, so that'll be nice to see. Canadian guy. How's it going up north? Hopefully a lot better down here. B. Baker, 2 B's are better than 1. Pastor Will, what do you say, PW? I don't like that either. Pastor Will, good to see you. Joe Monk, Joe Mama. Whoa, that was almost a little racist, Rich. Why? Joe Mama? Gustav Van Halen, how you doing, VV? 2 V's are better than 1. You got a G to rhyme, 2 V's and a G. Jeff Garvey, Steve Garvey. No, Jeff. I wonder if you're related. Not all Garveys are related, brother. I know. Great Plains Drifter made it in the house. Why do I always say that for you? I don't know why. There was a time where I didn't see you for a while, so I always feel like it's a nice surprise. Hey, Big Cat, BC in the house. What do you say, Big Cat? Doing the roll call 30 minutes later. I can't believe I was talking for 30 minutes. It just happened. I'm sorry. I said I won't talk about it tonight. I'm not going to mention it. I'm just going to do the show as if nothing happened, and I couldn't. I had to share it with somebody. I have to talk to somebody. And if you think I'm wrong, maybe I am. You know, I don't feel like I am. I could have handled it differently, but this isn't just from one night. It's a buildup of years of being disrespectful. Him. Of mooching. Not working, lying, stole $10,000 from his parents, sent money, stole it. $30,000 or more of damage. He had a party at their $1 million house when the parents went to Italy. He wasn't allowed to be there, but had a party anyway. 300 people. The cops came. Artwork was messed up. Tagging. He was afraid to come. He didn't come home after that. He was absolutely done and over with. Mario Heat wave. Lori Oliphant. L.O. in the house. Nick Shaw. That's a nice surprise. Good to see you. All right. So, Lee Bodge, happily. All right, we got to get going. Wreaking Havoc, I saw you. If I missed anybody, hey, Waylon C. Sorry if I didn't get you. So I wanted to do the ancient alien thing. Like, let's debunk ancient aliens. So I found a few videos because they're going to explain it better than me. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to start off not with the debunking yet. In a few minutes. It's not going to be that long away. But, you know, we started an hour later. So don't forget, you know, we're going to be around. There's no SOR tonight. You know, the official show. I'm sure Dave's going to turn on the camera and we'll get to look at his nose hairs for a little while. That's always good. Neil deGrasse Tyson. UFOs doesn't mean aliens. By the way, I know that came out weird. I didn't mean it to sound like that, Dave, if he's watching. I was looking at your nose hairs. It's just not the best camera angle. All right, let's see. Here we go. I need a break. I need a drink. Maybe I'll get a real drink. Brownie. Yeah, brownie. My mother's not here. I can't even yell for meatballs. Watch. Ma! It's bullshit.
Jedi, but we should probably figure out the practicality of this with astrophysicist director of the Hayden Planetarium, Neil deGrasse Tyson, rock star of science explanation.
It's real. It's in the movies, so it's real.
And this is his book, which is awesome, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. God bless you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm still shocked that people care about it at the level they have.
You shouldn't be. You are our science explainer-in-chief, and so explain what you see on that video.
Well, so people, I think, have conflated the concept of a UFO with whether we're visited by aliens. UFO means unidentified, flying object, okay? This is a highly non-specific term.
Yeah.
It is so non-specific, it admits you don't know what you're looking at.
But what's driving that thing if not a space alien?
It's unidentified.
Okay.
So...
That's not good enough.
Well, so the universe brims with mysteries. And so just because you don't know what it is you're looking at doesn't mean it's intelligent aliens visiting from another planet.
That's not what we think it means anyway, ass. This is just bullshit. This is why I wanted to play this real quick. Look, see how I stopped him? Exactly how he sounds. He thinks that you and I think unidentified flying objects mean aliens. That's the first thing you learn in ufology, in my course. Learn ufology with Rich. You didn't see that at GUFON University? Yeah. It's a free course. Video's coming out soon. It'll all be on there. You'll see. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Huh. Whoa, I don't know if you guys heard that. Something blew up out there. Wow. What is going on? Oh, man. Anyway, I don't like the way this is starting out.
Yes?
You just said you don't know what you're looking at. So it's not, you cannot, as a next sentence, say, therefore it must be anything.
Yes, but you know what we're looking at. You stare at the cosmos for a living.
I'm not authorized to go beyond this point.
Wow!
You're in!
But we're serious. But
No, a couple of things. Just
what do you see?
Consider what made people interested in this is that it involved the Pentagon and $22 million, or whatever the figure was. Consider, by the way, that's $22 million over 5 years, and the Pentagon's budget is huge. So how much of the Pentagon budget is that?
It's huge.
0.001% of the Pentagon budget. So A. B, it's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out. I would hope there's a program of our Defense Department.
They were there checking it out. What do you think that the airplane was doing? He's like, we need to go there and check it out. What do you think they were doing?
to make sure they do not.
I think IQ's dropped about 40 points overnight. And even though there's a video from how long ago, it just caught up with the video. December 20th, 2017.
Pose a threat. And sure enough, that's
still
what that
holds
program
up.
was.
But it's just buzzed away. They didn't know what it was.
Of course.
We still don't know. It's a mystery.
We still don't know.
Wait, hold on.
And I'm cool with that.
Okay, that's where we differ. You're cool with letting that
Scientists live
out there.
in mystery every day of our lives. There is the circle of knowledge that we have, and then there is beyond that circle is the unknown. And even as the perimeter of that knowledge grows, okay? As the area of the knowledge grows, so does the perimeter of our ignorance. All right, because it's touching this wider and wider area.
Okay, I understand.
So people are uncomfortable not knowing, not the scientist. I'm fine. We don't know what it is. Keep checking it out.
Okay, but hold on a second. There's another question.
Call me when you have dinner invite from an alien. That's a different
you're
conversation.
skeptical. You're skeptical that space aliens have visited Earth.
The evidence is so paltry for aliens to visit Earth. I have no further interest. Let other people who care go ahead. And then when you finally find some aliens, bring them into Times Square. No, there are too many weird people.
I think that's happened.
You will not stand out in Times Square.
Right.
And try not to come back during Comic-Con when the alien would just blend in. Go to the county fair or something where there's a uniformity of who's there. And then and everybody's got a high-definition video camera on them now. We have video footage of rare things that you knew happened, but no one saw it happen. Like buses tumbling in tornadoes. In the day, you didn't say, oh, that bus is about to tumble. Let me go back and get my video camera to film this. No, you got your tail out of there. Everybody's got a video camera. I'm just waiting for images of people visiting, having tea with aliens on the spacecraft.
But you do acknowledge that carbon is not a rare substance, and there must be carbon-based life forms out there somewhere.
If there's life elsewhere, it is likely based on carbon, not only because carbon is abundant, but it is highly versatile in what kinds of molecules it makes. And if you need the diversity of life, is enabled and empowered by the diversity of the molecule carbon can give you.
Do you think there's intelligent life out there?
I would first start with that question on Earth. Set me up for that.
It's actually a good answer. Funny. Well, I think we're learning from Venus that there's microbes living in an acidic cloud because there's phosphine. And phosphine can be created in a lab, but when there's phosphine present, that means there is life, microbial life or some sort of life, and that is, their signature, I guess. What's up, Fraps Appuccino?
No, so the question is, have aliens visited and just kept going because there was no sign of intelligent life? We've used our... Who defined us as intelligent? We did. Okay. So is that some cosmic measure of intelligence? Perhaps.
It is. It's a... let's finish this out.
It's not. And so who are we to say? I'm just saying, it seems to me aliens who visited us, it would be they would manifest more convincingly than fuzzy video. And there's no reason to assume that because you don't know what you're looking at, it equals aliens that visited us from outer space. I'm glad the Pentagon was looking at this, because if it posed a threat, I want them on top of it right away. And otherwise, and the program is closed down, and it said, not a threat.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, the program's closed down, sure. It's called TTSA now. Give me a break. By the way, don't forget, to the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, they do not investigate UFOs. They investigate UAPs. I will get him on my show. You know what? I'm going to do it. Hold on. I don't want to forget to do the... Oh, yeah, pens. I put all the pens in here now. Neil deGrasse, asshole Tyson. Oh, I better not. I'll edit that out. Neil. I'm going to try. Get Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'm going to try. That'd be a really fun interview. So, interviews are going to start happening very quickly, probably next week. I'm not going to say anything, but I think tonight I came up with a very good idea, and I think I am going to make UFO videos, and I'm going to call it GUFON University. And I'm going to teach the things I know. Talk about, I'll make 5-10 minute videos. Episode 1. Today, you're going to learn what UFO means. Yeah, and then we'll talk about UAPs, and then we'll talk about the people. I mean, this could go on for a long time. I think I'm going to open up GUFON University. GUFON U. GUFON U. Oh my God. I can't believe I just came up with that. So write that down. Ma! Nope. Oh, I didn't put up the other camera. I'll do that during a video. So Neil deGrasse Tyson's trying to teach us about the correct terminology. What happened to UFOs, what it means, what it doesn't mean. And they were talking about, do you believe in intelligent life outside of our planet? It's a big question. Everybody wants to know what these guys think. I don't think it has to be carbon-based life anymore. I wonder if that's... Didn't I hear that somewhere? Is that true? Hold on a second. This just came in, I think. This looks very important. Hold on. Okay, yeah. I can't show it right now, but later on, a secret recovered UFO base. I think I could show that now. Hold on, let me see how this goes. It's in my email. I can't take it out. Well, I guess I could. Yeah, let me do that. Because I don't want you to know where it came from, because it's a secret UFO base. Capiche? It's in the US. This is pretty wild. That, to me, looks legit. Here it is. Here. Do you see it? Oh, I didn't put it up. So, I guess this was found... What state is this in? Hypocrisy? Here it is. They recovered these flying saucers, and there's 16 of them. The one that really scares me are the happy birthday UFOs, because there's so many. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Birthday, 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 welcome. I like this one. So this must have been the first one. The first UFO they were welcoming. And I guess they imitate, mice. You can see they're in fire. All the signs are here. Look. Supermen, superhuman strength. And this is signs right here. This is a sign. This means something. Like Richard Dreyfuss said. This means something. Bob. This means something. Bob. Doesn't even sound like you anymore. Did you change your voice? All right. So let's get over to the next topic. That's so stupid. All right. Ancient Aliens. We've been watching this TV show for 15 years now. Hey, Google. What year did Ancient Aliens, the TV show, begin? April 20th, 2010. 10 years. Yeah, but they've got like 19 seasons. I don't know how that works. I'm looking at the chat room. Yes, I have the chat room open now. I have my phone. I have 30-minute. If I don't touch the phone, it'll shut off. It, turn off the screen in 30 minutes. They don't have the never anymore. They took it off, like to never turn off. Anyway, my screen is already stained from the what do you call the bar on the top? Yeah, the info bar. My screen is stained. I hate that shit. And I don't even keep it on super bright. I keep it just over like 60%. Anyway, I don't see you guys really saying too much. A couple of ha-ha, hee-hee, ho-hos. All right. I do have a video. And this is going to be a nice way to do it. So I'm going to go to this website. It is called ancientaliensdebunked.com. So I'm going to go there. There's a video they have. It's the 3-hour and 10-minute version. But if I go to ancientaliensdebunked.com, I believe it is. ancientaliensdebunked.com. Here we go. And there it is. So let me pull this up. I think, let me get it for you. Apologize. So here, little me, please. Here, we can watch or, hey, wait, where is it? Or we can go to reference and we can pick what we want to talk about instead of watching the entire video. So the first thing I do want to talk about and see how this might be debunked. Now, I didn't watch all of these, but I did watch this first few minutes. So these are ways that Ancient Aliens is debunked. And I have free reign. I got permission to use the video. And I'll tell you how that happened. Because you're allowed. They give us they tell you at the end of this video that you have free reign to use this video as long as you don't try to make money off of it. And I will not be monetizing, which I don't monetize the long shows anyway, in case you haven't noticed. So here we go. Pumapunku. Those are the H blocks. Remember those guys? They go, well, you'll see. We got to go to 338 in the video. Yep. So let's go 338. I'll open it up. Don't worry. That's good
and
enough.
Shaped and positioned that it is the most intriguing ancient site on the planet.
While the pyramids at Giza are incredible feat of achievement, compared to Pumapunku, the pyramids are child play. In my opinion,
it's not in HD.
The most significant piece of evidence that we have in this entire ancient astronaut puzzle is Pumapunku in the highland of Bolivia.
Well, if Pumapunku is considered such good evidence for the ancient astronaut theory, we should probably start off by looking at it. After all, it's the...
He said in his opinion. He didn't say it's a fact. You see what... You see? This is why we do this. I don't like it. They're trying to debunk all my love. All right.
Extraterrestrials.
Ancient Aliens starts off with a false dilemma by making people think that it was absolutely impossible for ancient people to construct Pumapunku, even to the point of making outright false claims.
One of the most intriguing things there is that the stones that were used there aren't sandstone, they're granite and diorite. The only stone that's harder than diorite is diamond.
Wow. Fraps Pacino, you been to Tiwanaku? Damn. Oh yeah, I'm growing my hair out again to do the Giorgio Tsoukalos.
So the only way that this could have been achieved is if the tools were tipped with diamonds.
This is funny because it's totally wrong. The stones are not granite or diorite at Pumapunku. They are red sandstone and andesite. But this is also funny because of the way that he says it.
The stones that were used there aren't sandstone, they're granite and diorite.
Well, yeah, actually, it is sandstone. You can't blame him, though. It becomes obvious that throughout the series, he often...
Wait a second, I'm confused. So, what he's saying is it's sandstone? Wait, I'm a little bit... why am I not getting this?
Perceived is if the tools were tipped with diamonds.
This is funny because it's totally wrong. The stones are not granite or diorite at Pumapunku. They are...
I have never seen the red ones. I don't remember seeing these. Do you? Come on. Ah, you sister's ass.
This repeats things he's heard in Eric von Daniken's books. Von Daniken...
Perceived is if the tools were tipped with
diamonds.
This is funny because it's totally wrong.
Yeah.
The stones are not granite or diorite at Pumapunku. They are red sandstone and andesite.
That's weird. I never saw the red ones like that before. I've only seen the ones that look like granite. The gray. Oh, that's real shady shit. It does seem like he's making up some stuff in a way. So, but this one's pretty compelling.
But this is also funny because of the way that he says it.
The stones that were used there aren't sandstone, they're granite and diorite.
Well, yeah.
But isn't that doesn't say diorite. It says andesite and red sandstone. I don't know. The core of the Pumapunku consists of clay. The fill underlying selected parts of the edge of the Pumapunku consist of river sand and cobbles instead of clay. Excavations at the Pumapunku have documented these three major building epochs in addition to small repairs and remodeling.
It is sandstone. You can't blame him, though. It becomes obvious that throughout the series, he often just repeats things he's heard in Eric von Daniken's books.
True.
Von Daniken's books are what the Ancient Aliens series is based on. Later, we see Eric von Daniken himself make the exact same, totally wrong claim.
Of course made out of stones found on Earth, because you don't transport granite or diorite from another solar system.
Von Daniken continues building up this false dilemma.
One of these platforms is 800 tons.
This is very incorrect. The heaviest block at Pumapunku is 130 tons, and most of the stones are much smaller than that.
Where do they get 800 tons from? How does he get off by 679 tons?
So he's off by a whopping 670 tons. Unfortunately, we will come to expect this kind of thing from von Daniken as we progress. Ancient Aliens spends quite a lot of time pointing out the various features in the stonemasonry at Pumapunku, and then declaring it impossible to do without power tools. The sandstone and andesite stones at Pumapunku would have been easily worked with the most basic stoneworking tools. The idea that diamond-tipped power saws were needed is ridiculous. The red sandstone was relatively soft and easy to work with, and even though andesite is pretty hard, because of the way it cooled, it could easily be flaked off using stones as soft as 5.5 on the Mohs scale. Such pounding stones were found all over the andesite quarries in the area. Contrary to Ancient Aliens' claims that archaeologists are baffled by Pumapunku, archaeologists know the basics about how Pumapunku's stones were cut and shaped. This is partly because there is evidence for this all over the site itself. They actually used a method that almost all ancient stoneworkers used. They used hard pounding stones to pound out trough-like depressions. Later on, they used flat stones and sand to grind the stone to make a polished surface. We will see later on that this is also how the Egyptians, thousands of years before this, made their flat-surfaced granite monuments like obelisks. Sand, as we will see later when we look at Egypt, has extremely hard particles in it.
This is crazy. I've never seen any of this on the show. Never. I've never seen those waves that they just showed. I'm getting a little angry. I don't have the energy.
And if placed between a flat surface and a rock, can polish even the hardest stones known to man. In fact, the harder the stone is, the better it can be polished using sand. We will also see how sand can turn a piece of copper into a very efficient granite saw or granite drill, a method which the Egyptians utilized quite well. Some stones at Pumapunku that ancient aliens would never show the cameras are the ones that are in the middle of this process.
Right.
They show that at the same time a stone was being pounded by stone hammers, which created these trough-like depressions, the grinding and polishing was taking place on the other end of the stone. Unfinished stones like this one clearly show how they were shaped, and it wasn't with lasers. There's also unmistakable evidence of stone hammers having been used in places that were never meant to be visible, like where certain stones would be connected with one another. And because of that, it's hard for me to believe Eric von Daniken in this next clip, because it would mean that the alien toolbox had a laser gun right next to a stone hammer. It is true that stone tools would not be enough to construct Pumapunku, especially for some of the finer points. For that, they would need metal chisels and the equivalent of a carpenter's square. Entire studies have been done detailing how these cuts were made, and nothing spectacular is required except some metal tools like chisels. The arguments against this are usually either that a particular culture did not yet know how to cast metals, or that copper chisels would have been too weak. On the first point, we know that the pre-Incan Andean culture was very skilled at fashioning metals and creating metal alloys. In fact, the people who built Pumapunku were even pouring copper alloys into molds right on site, showing that they had more than enough capability to form all kinds of metal tools. But the question is, what about the tool's strength? Well, even if they were pouring pure copper into a mold, it would still work, but it would need sharpening often. But because archaeologists actually found a few of these metal cramps used by them on site, we now know that they were using a very strong copper arsenic nickel alloy, which made a much stronger final product.
That's crazy.
Arsenic acts as a deoxidant, preventing the metal from becoming too brittle. And nickel was used in copper alloys specifically to make strong chisels. Once you understand that they had the ability to make strong metal tools in a huge variety of shapes, there is no part of Pumapunku's stonework that would have been too difficult for them. Well, what about these 90-degree right angles that ancient aliens make so much about?
One of the amazing things here at Pumapunku is the precision of the blocks. You can see with this block of granite.
So what does this all mean right now? I mean everything's bullshit? Well, let's listen to something else. What, the pyramids? Let's save that for last. Let's debunk the Nazca lines. No, what do you guys want to do next? Wreaking Havoc says, I've been a stonemason for 22 years. No matter what type of stone it's built out of or what tool they used, the precision of the cuts is pretty close to impossible for back then. I tend to agree. It is amazing that after all these years, you can still cut your finger on a corner because it's so sharp. Crazy. Maybe tools were used with lasers and other things, you know? But if they did have that technology, why bother? Why don't you just use the technology and, I don't know, it sucks. If it's so easy to do it, why not recreate them? Thank you. Didn't they? I think they do in the video. I think I'm cutting it short. Let's see. We all know. Well, let's go to Easter Islands. Everybody knows Easter Island. Where do we have to go? What did it? I didn't read it. Easter Island. Go to where? 10133.
Huge variety of shapes. There is no part of Pumapunku's stonework alien input with Incan stonework. Many people are familiar with these images of stone heads, called moai by the locals. Ancient Aliens tells us that nothing is really known about them.
How in the heck did they make these? Where did they come from? And how did they move them? Nobody has the answer.
Yeah, there's your archaeologist. If a TV show like this asked me to be on Ancient Aliens, I said, you gotta let me know what I'm talking about because I know shit.
This isn't true at all. For instance, we know exactly how they were cut and shaped, because the construction of the moai was abandoned abruptly. So there are plenty of examples of moai in various stages of development. Also, the stone tools that they used to pound out the relatively soft volcanic rock were found all over the quarries. Here's a clip of one of the locals explaining to his grandson how the moai were built.
He thinks that 20 people carved this moai over a period of time of 5 to 6 years to this stage. This is our sections of people who were, given as your assignment. This is your section. You can carve, and you can see different, ways of doing it, and you can clearly see the talkie marks and how the people were carving and going in and make these deep cuts in the rock like this, that.
The channels reached around and eventually formed a boat-like keel until the statue could be snapped off and fully extracted.
Ancient Alien spends most of its time here discussing the moving of the moai, and it's interesting the angle that they take, because it seems that they are aware that there have been many successful experiences.
Oh yeah, I saw that guy in Michigan. He moved a 10-ton block with one hand. Right, that guy? Hey, I saw that. Yeah, I'll find that video. We'll play it later. If I remember.
Moving moai with wooden sleds and minimal workers. So, Ancient Aliens has to do what they do best. Create a false dilemma.
But there is a unique problem with the idea of moving moai with sleds or rollers.
When you go to Easter Island, you don't get the impression they had enough wood to have rollers. And in fact, in the 1700s, the first 4 expeditions to Easter Island never really saw a tree. And so that's the real mystery of Easter Island. How can you move a multi-ton statue if you have no trees for rollers?
So, they say there are currently no trees on Easter Island. Therefore, they assume there were never any trees on Easter Island, and therefore, well, aliens. The problem with this is that there used to be a lot of trees on Easter Island, which we now know because of extensive pollen samples taken from the crater lakes as well as other methods. In fact, the very reason there are no trees on Easter Island now is probably because they used all of them while moving and lifting over 1,000 moais over hundreds of years. In other words, they used all the trees. One interesting thing about Easter Island is regarding soil erosion. If you take a land that once had a lot of trees and cut them all down, then you will have a massive soil.
This is a hit piece and disinfo campaign. Yeah, maybe it is. Who made this, by the way? Verse by Verses, BT. I don't know. It's easy to say. Damn it. God. Hold on. Just had a wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, I don't know if this is a hit piece. It doesn't sound like he's talking condescendingly every time.
Erosion problem. This is because there will be no more root systems to hold the soil in place. Also, the rains no longer have anything to stop their velocity.
Aww.
The soil erosion at Easter Island is so notorious that if you type soil erosion into a search engine, you will see that the Wikipedia page has a picture of Easter Island. Some of the moai actually have full bodies. They're not just heads. But because of soil erosion, even in a very short time, they have been covered up to their necks in soil. This is a direct result of the land being completely deforested. So we know for sure how these moai were cut and shaped. That is, with simple tools which are found all over the quarries. And we know that if they had trees on Easter Island, then there are no problems with moving them and prying them into place. And Easter Island used to have a lot of trees before their fascination with creating moai exhausted their supply.
Oh, this might be good. I like ancient... oh, it's part 2 of this? Okay. Oh, yeah, the rocket! Oh, I love this! Oh, no. They're gonna ruin this for me? Okay, first off, I want to say one thing before we let this play out. It might be a hit piece. Because I believe this does show us what Eric von Däniken said. The flames coming out the bottom, his feet are manipulating the controls. He's got a breathing apparatus around his nose. You can see his hands operating the controls. He's sitting, looking through, looking out, going up. And they're trying to tell us he's going into the underworld to see the gods. No. He's leaving the planet to the stars. Here we go.
Arguably, the most remarkable Mayan artifact ever found, the stone sarcophagus lid of King Pakal, has produced considerable controversy. Mainstream scholars believe the depiction is of King Pakal on a journey to the underworld.
Yeah, hey, you know, Frapsap, it's good, you know, that we talk about this. And you want to know why I'm playing this? How many times do we, lately anyway, we've been promoting, we always promote aliens as, yeah, this really happened, this could be, they didn't have this and they couldn't have done that if there were no alien technologies. But I've heard all this stuff before, and some of it I believe, some of it I don't. I want to know how they moved the stones. So far, I'm having a problem with anybody telling me how they could move the stones, the blocks at the pyramid. It's tough, Frapsap. This is the toughest thing I do. Playing something I can't go examine because what do I know? But we have to look at all sides of things, and I thought, you know, we'd do this as something different. We've never done. I've never had a show debunking or talking about debunking ancient aliens. This guy's video allows us to examine that without getting a copyright problem. So I thought it would be a good change of pace.
But ancient astronaut theorists believe the king is portrayed seated at the controls of a spacecraft.
And we will go and check out the stuff where they prove this is real, the ancient alien stuff. And it's not debunked. We'll get to that maybe tomorrow. Might be a good thing to do.
And have dubbed him the Palenque astronaut.
Palenque.
He appears to be going into space. He's the original rocket man. They're manipulating.
There's your soundbite. He's the original rocket man.
Believe the depiction is of King Pakal on a journey to the underworld. But ancient astronaut theorists believe the king is portrayed seated at the controls of a spacecraft and have dubbed him the Palenque astronaut.
It's funny they call ancient astronaut theorists. It's funny, did you hear me say before he said it? How he's manipulating the controls. That's how many times I've seen this episode. I knew he was going to say manipulating.
He appears to be going into space. He's the original rocket man. They're manipulating his spacecraft going into space.
Wow, man, cool.
We have maintained for a very long time that the depiction here is of King Pakal sitting in some type of a spacecraft. Because he is at an angle like modern day astronauts upon liftoff. He's manipulating some controls right here. He has some type of a breathing apparatus or some type of a telescope in front of his face. His feet are on some type of a pedal. And down here, you have something that looks like an exhaust with flames.
The sarcophagus lid of Pakal has been a centerpiece for the ancient astronaut theories since the beginning. Eric von Däniken believes this to be one of his best pieces of evidence.
And you see his upper hand, he's manipulating some control.
Me too.
From the lower hand, he's turning something on. The heel of his left foot is on a kind of pedal. And outside of the capsule, you see a linking flame. This is incredible. This is absolutely a proof for extraterrestrials.
You can see the leaking flame.
The theory rests on the idea that the Mayans were not depicting their usual symbols here, but were trying to realistically depict a rocket with Pakal as its pilot. I think the best thing I can do for you here is to clearly explain what the Mayanists and other scientists who specialize in Mayan culture and artwork believe this scene is depicting. As Ancient Alien said, archaeologists believe this scene is depicting the moment of Pakal's death and his descent into the underworld. Let me show you why they believe that. The most famous symbol in this picture is that of the World Tree, which, if you believe Ancient Aliens, would make up the entire hull of the rocket.
Oh, so if we turn it this way, that's the way, it's like a motorcycle. Oh. Oh my God, turn your head. Oh my God, that's what it is. Well, after all these years, I never even thought about that. Who said that? Thank you so much, Great Plains Drifter. It's a rice rocket. Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God. All right, let's hear what this guy says. Now that I'm convinced. It is some sort of a machine. I believe. I don't know shit, but I believe that it's possible. I mean, all the things that we're seeing here, it does look like he's riding a motorcycle type of thing. Go.
It's hard to overemphasize the importance of the World Tree in Mayan mythology. The idea was that the World Tree extended into the heavens with its branches, and its roots extended into the underworld. So it was a symbol of the bridge between the underworld, heaven, and earth. Oh. When it is depicted, it almost always has the double-headed vision serpent on its branches, just like it is depicted here on Pakal's lid. The vision serpent was believed to live at the center of the world. Thus, it is depicted just above the underworld and just below the heavens. And it's...
Okay, so let's say that's part of it. So what is his hands doing, his feet? What's in his nose? If he doesn't tell me, then this is a hit piece.
Its top branches is the celestial bird, which is seen a little more clearly in other World Tree depictions like this one. But on Pakal's lid, you can see it's clearly depicting the same bird. The celestial bird represented the heavens, and thus was pictured on top.
I think Great Plains Drifter was joking a little bit, but you know what? It could have been something that hovered off the ground. But I think it is what we're seeing here, the depiction of two worlds. And, well, I don't know. But I need to see this guy here explain the manipulation of the devices.
Of the World Tree. What Ancient Alien says is the exhaust or fire from the rocket's takeoff is the roots of the World Tree extending into the underworld, which is not just typical for the depictions of the World Tree, it's pretty much a requirement. In the underworld, we see a picture of the Mayan sun monster, which Pakal is riding into the underworld. The idea was that every time the sun set, it was actually traveling into the underworld, where it would die, like everything else in the underworld. You can even see the bottom half of the sun's face was a skeleton, while the top half still had flesh and had not yet died.
So if this is true, and these people believed it was the sun setting or died and was reborn, if they really believe that, and they obviously did because they depicted it and there's evidence for it, then that means they're not alien. He still didn't tell me what he's using his hands, feet, and nose for.
This too is a common theme showing the moment of transition. So Pakal is hitching a ride on the sun into the underworld. Even the so-called smoke is easily explained when you understand Mayan symbols. In Mayan art, whenever you see a so-called traveler, which is a person in transition from one world to the next, there must be something that is making that travel possible. Sometimes it's a twisted umbilical cord, but almost always it's a serpent, often a double-headed serpent. In other words, being in the mouths of double-headed serpents was a symbol of transition from one world to the next. You can see that the so-called smoke is actually the traditional serpent's beard, which appears on almost every depiction of a serpent in Mayan art. Now that you have an idea about what the scholars believe about this, let's look at some of Ancient Alien's specific claims.
He's manipulating some controls right
Oh,
here.
here we go. We're going to talk about the controls.
They say his hands are manipulating some controls, but if you look closely, his right hand isn't touching anything at all. And
oh, but it has the appearance that it was just doing something. That it has the appearance it's about to do something, or it... Come on.
Thing to its right is not connected to the tree any more than any of the other floating design elements in the picture. His left hand could be said to be manipulating controls more than his right, but you would have to say that all these marks on the tree are controls too, which in reality is probably the bark of the world tree, which was modeled after the ceiba tree, which had a very unique bark and thus was usually depicted in some way or another in world tree art. The odd position of Pakal's hands in this image is really what all the fuss is about. In the 1970s video refutation of the ancient astronaut theories, the Mayan expert in that film made the point that the hands in Mayan art are often depicted in delicate positions.
The Maya like to show hands in rather delicate gestures.
Such... Oh...
Gestures are common in Mayan art. There are similar...
That's mainstream media. You see a little fishiness going on here.
For examples on the side of the slab.
As far as the claim about his foot...
That is weak.
...being on a type of pedal, I would have to say that if that is how aliens design pedals, then we are far more advanced in pedal technology than they are, because...
No! Oh, boy. This could just be one example. Maybe all he has to do is push down on it with his heel, which would make sense, to give it more gas, maybe, dude. Come on, dude.
That may be the worst angle to put any kind of foot pedal.
Oh, it's art.
Plus, there are other reliefs of Mayans in the underworld on similar slabs with their feet in similar positions.
Damn it, Jim. I did not need to see that.
But without the rocket. Well, what about this so-called breathing tube for his nose?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't connect to anything.
No.
And if you look closely, the thing it could potentially connect to is also represented on the other side of the lid, and is clearly a stylistic element of the vision serpent. What it actually is a nose piercing, particularly a bone.
Here, an earring suspended from a pierced ear. A nose plug, which has the elements of death because it takes the form of a fleshless bone.
Finally, consider the context that we find this image. It's on a coffin lid, so the mainstream view is perfectly in line with that, and the whole concept was common in Mayan burials. It would have been a strange thing for them to all of a sudden abandon their usual symbolic artwork to depict a rocket on a coffin lid. The fact is that the symbols on the sarcophagus lid are really consistently used. Often the symbols are even explained in the extensive Mayan writings. These symbols fit perfectly with what we know about their beliefs about the world and the afterlife.
I don't know, man. That makes me a little... They did a good job on that one because... Well, oh yeah, we got to get out of here. There we go. Because they showed us other artwork with the dainty hands, the nose, bone. All that stuff seemed to be regular in their art. Makes me a little mad. Damn it. Someone told me about 3-4 years ago that Ancient Aliens is bullshit. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then I started watching these. I remember this. Seeing this. One more. Let's do the pyramids. Where's this one come to? 2241.
At the ready for these types of projects. So we know these rocks were 100 tons more way through the project because of a crack that developed.
It's coming up.
This stone, because it is unfinished, gives us direct insight into how they cut and shaped granite as well as other stones. On the sides we can...
The funny thing is, I feel like I get pulled in two directions. Like when I'm watching this, are we having issues with the stream? Is everything seem to be working? Guys, just, I don't know. Let me know if there's any lagging. What was I saying? Oh, it seems like when you watch these shows, being that all I can go by is what's being shown and what I may read or find in research. And a lot of research I see was from mainstream, and, you know, mainstream archaeology believes exactly what this guy's saying, debunking ancient aliens. But it doesn't make it true. Well, you can't say it doesn't, because the artwork they just showed us was depicted in other figures. It's their beliefs, man. And he couldn't come up with a thing for the foot, but it could have just been a place you put your feet. Probably because it is a rocket. Don't you think if it was, they would hide all that? Maybe Eric von Daniken, maybe he's half right. God, I hate this field. Come on.
You can see how these stones were separated from the quarry. A team of workers would line up side by side and pound their sections with a diorite pounding stone.
Wait, I thought it said, hold on. The pyramids, so why aren't we there yet? 2241, he said. I was there. Oh, 20. We're still in the last thing. Right? We're still talking about...
One was a two-person saw, like an old-time
not.
sanding the stone.
All right, I'm going to go back and just play.
Such pounding stones can be found all over this and other quarries in Egypt. This pounding only broke off millimeters of granite at a time, but eventually these trough-like sections emerged at each worker's station. After that, they would do the same thing on the bottom of the block, until it was supported only by a thin spine in the middle. Then it would be snapped off using levers. The people who created the Moai statues at Easter Island used very similar methods for quarrying stone, as did many other groups around the world, as we will see. After the stones had been roughly shaped using pounding stones, they would then begin to polish them with grinders. There have been many types of stone grinders or polishers found in ancient Egypt. They usually had a handle with a flat surface, which they would use to rub against the stone with sand as the abrasive. They were, well, sanding the stone. The various mineral particles found in sand are hard enough not only to polish hard stones like granite, but also to do what ancient aliens tries to make people think is utterly impossible, that is, to cut granite. The Egyptians had a variety of ways to cut granite, mostly involving copper and sand. There are plenty of saw marks on granite stones in Egypt, at the granite quarries, of course, as well as certain notable ones, like the famous granite sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid. The person who was doing the sawing on the sarcophagus sawed for a while at the wrong angle before realizing his mistake and going in the right direction, which left a pretty big mark for us to study. These copper saws came in three basic styles. One was a two-person saw, like an old-time lumber saw. Another type was a small, handheld saw with a wooden handle. And finally, there was a tubular saw for making holes in granite and other stones. These saws are depicted in several Egyptian reliefs. Interestingly, they didn't require saw teeth to work. They only required sand to be placed between the saw and the stones. The sand was what did the cutting. This particular method of stone cutting has been tested by ancient Egyptian tool experts, and not only was it done, but it was apparently quite easy to do. However, sawing granite with copper was expensive, because the copper would wear out somewhat quickly. Therefore, you mostly see granite in ancient Egypt being worked with pounding stones, finished with grinders and chisels. The saw work was reserved primarily for royal projects, like that of the sarcophagus. All of this really makes Ancient Aliens lose credibility, because all throughout the series, they make it sound like working with granite was only possible using diamond-tipped alien power.
Right, that's what, isn't it? So you can saw... I don't get it, wait. So then how did they come up with that it's really difficult to cut through if you didn't have diamonds? So you mean to tell me that they had saws, they threw sand down because it worked and cut through granite? Huh. I know it can be done, but that just doesn't seem time efficient. Didn't it take 30 years to build the big pyramid, though? It would have taken, they would have had to put a block in, I think it's every 2 to 3 minutes, for it to be done in 30 years if there's 2 million blocks. Is that true? So if you have 2 million blocks, and it's, let's say, 3 minutes, that would be 9 million minutes? 2 million blocks, 6 million. Hey Google, how many years is 6 million minutes?
6 million minutes is equivalent to 11.416 years.
11 and a half years. Maybe every 5 minutes, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking. Oh, this guy doesn't? I don't either. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I have no idea.
Or tools.
But Wreaking Havoc he's got the experience. This is beautiful. And he says this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Or me. I don't. I'll admit that. But this guy doesn't either. I don't know.
As all this relates to the Great Pyramid's construction, it's important to remember that almost none of the pyramid is made from granite, except for a few things like the roof supports for the king's chamber.
Yeah, copper would be too soft. But if you throw sand down, it's like magic of popping fresh dough.
Most of the stone was...
Just put a little sand on the stage for the famous Shim Sham, a Shandanch. What movie's that from? History of the World, Part 1. Very good, class.
Sandstone and limestone. About 85% of the stone used in the construction of the pyramids was relatively soft sandstone, which was quarried right on site.
Brilliant. So it makes sense. It could have taken 11 years to make this.
That's right. The Great Pyramid was built right in the middle of a massive sandstone quarry.
Unbelievable.
Which was no doubt at least one factor in choosing the location to build it. The other 15% of the stones, like that of limestone and granite, would have to be brought in from a slightly further away location. So this raises another question. What about moving these stones? Surely the only way is by levitation.
Great point in the chat room. Brett Lewis says it would work great. Our modern cutting discs for mason work and such are the same principle, friction. Look at the Grand Canyon, friction. Yeah, water cuts through the sandstone or the rocks over time. That's friction.
As
Beautiful.
Ancient Aliens claims.
In order to really move massive amounts of stone like that, they would have had to have been levitated, somehow made weightless, and then just moved through the air by some kind of device, perhaps even a handheld kind of device, like some beam weapon.
If levitation was the way that the ancient Egyptians moved stones, they had a funny way of showing it, because there are plenty of depictions of them using wooden sleds to move everything from blocks the size and shape of the ones used for the pyramid to massive 1,000-ton monuments and obelisks, all using wooden sleds. They even had a hieroglyph for the word sled, which they used often. In fact, 3 such sleds have been found intact by archaeologists, and they have all kinds of places to attach ropes to. Speaking of ropes, ropes made out of papyrus and other materials have been found in Egypt, some of them with a massive circumference, suggesting that they were used for extremely heavy objects. Boats were used for stones that needed to be imported. In fact, a channel was dug from the Nile to the construction site, so no stone had to be dragged very far anyway.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that? I didn't know that.
So, what about the construction of the pyramids? How exactly was it done? Part of the reason that the ancient aliens perspective is attractive is because some of the other popular theories concerning the pyramid's construction have serious problems, such as the single ramp theory, which would have had to extend out more than a mile and would have had to have more stones in it than the pyramid itself. Another one is the spiral ramp theory. This one is problematic because some of the ledges only had about 2 feet or less to work with. Certainly not enough to hold a ledge that would carry workers and stones the size of the ones used. Also, a structure like the pyramid would have had to have been constantly monitored for geometric accuracy as it progressed upwards, because being even a few inches off on a lower level could cause the top to be off by a huge amount. And a spiral ramp would have made it impossible to survey the geometric accuracy of the pyramid as it progressed. Add to this that there's no actual evidence for either of those theories, and you can see why people are looking for alternatives. While doing research for this documentary, I came across a new theory about the pyramid's construction that I had not heard before. At first I planned to mention it only briefly, but the more I heard of this theory, the more convinced I became of its validity. It was proposed not by an Egyptologist, but by an eccentric French architect named Jean-Pierre Houdin. And if Jean-Pierre is correct, knowing how the blocks were raised in the pyramid also happens to explain some of the other mysteries, like the purpose for the odd-shaped grand gallery, as well as the purpose of the granite blocks above the king's chamber, and why there were 3 burial chambers cut at different levels in the pyramid, 2 of which were unused. I will very briefly explain this theory, but I highly encourage you to visit the links at the website on your screen, because the specifics of this theory are something that any pyramid enthusiast should be very familiar with, in my opinion. The basic idea is that there was an internal ramp in the Great Pyramid, and workers dragged the blocks through it until they reached the corners, at which point the block was repositioned for another team to pull it up the next ramp. Also, the exterior limestone blocks with the polished finish would have been positioned and aligned first to ensure geometric accuracy, and then the sandstone blocks would have been positioned behind them as filler. This would mean that all the internal chambers, like the Queen and King's chamber, were built as the pyramid progressed upwards in the light of day. This internal ramp theory, unlike some of the others, is actually supported by quite a lot of physical evidence. For example, in the 1980s, a French team, looking for hidden chambers, conducted a full-scale gravimetric survey of the Great Pyramid, kind of like a giant X-ray map of the entire pyramid. They actually found evidence of this internal ramp through their study, but they had no idea what to think of the spiral pattern they saw at the time, so they simply filed it away until they heard about Jean-Pierre's internal ramp theory 14 years later. In addition, there is this notch high up on the Great Pyramid, which, according to Jean-Pierre, rests exactly on the 7% grade where you would expect to find the internal ramp, and
well, you could see
would be at the exact place where the work actually found evidence of this internal ramp through their study.
So stupid.
But they had no idea what to think of the spiral pattern they saw at the time, so they simply filed it away until they heard about Jean-Pierre's internal ramp theory 14 years later. In addition, there is this notch high up on the Great Pyramid, which, according to Jean-Pierre, rests exactly on the 7% grade.
Right, you can see it. There's different markings every 7%, it looks like. You can actually see little indents. Another one there. They're pretty equidistant. There. Boop. I think we figured this one out. What? Yeah, we did. All right. What's coming up now? This? All right, let's do this. That is so stupid. All right. I thought it would be fun to try to see, you know, we could always come back and finish that since it took a long time to go through all that with the videos. So next topic. What do we got? Oh, a video. I know, shocker. Well, I figured we would end the show. We're not done. We still got a long way to go, like half hour or so, but we may go another hour. Anyway, I'm going to jump into what was played last night on Third Phase, because anytime there's a video out by Third Phase, I'm going to play it. So, if it's good, and so far they're all good. All right. How long is this? Do I have the right one? Yeah, this is it. I think this is just a UFO sighting. Oh, okay. Well, okay. So I'll just play it.
Welcome back. Blake Cousins here, Third Phase Moon. We've got a special report. Incredible sightings coming in from around the world. And we speak with director James Fox in his explosive documentary. It's being held as one of the most credible examinations of a long-standing cover-up and a global mystery involving unidentified aerial phenomenon. But before we get to that, let me share you with this, a video that has just come into me via my Facebook. His name is Dean Krillin, and he sent me this video from England, and he doesn't have any idea what it is. Let's just roll it, and we also have his video testimony. Check it out.
Watch how far out he zoomed. Watch this. It's amazing he saw it. Watch. What? What was he doing? Oh my God, that's far. How did he see it? I guess he was zooming in to look at him. Well, we'll hear his testimony.
I reached out to Dean and I said, you got to film yourself and I want to get your testimony explaining to us what happened. And Dean obliged us. Here it is.
Right there, Brett, Blake, Third Phase of Moon. Yeah, the video that I took, it was Sunday the 13th of September. It was in England on the Isle of Sheppey. I was out with my family walking the dogs. It was about 8:30. Just sitting on the rocks, watching the kids play and that, and then I'm always looking up in the sky. I see some strange stuff, but never been able to catch anything. I was just looking out at the wind turbines and see like this little black dot. So I grabbed the camera, zoomed in, and as you can see, well, there's this thing going mental. And like you say, the first thing you do, you're trying to debunk it yourself. Like, is it a drone? It didn't look like any drone to me. Then I did actually think it was a kite. But then if you look that far out, you couldn't see anyone out there. Like, I mean, it's in the middle of the ocean. So, well, then I thought perhaps it got caught up in the turbine or something. But it started off on the right, going up and down, up and down. It was like I said, it looks like a kite. But then it started moving towards the left, and it was like as if it was going along, checking all the turbines out. Sometimes it'd disappear, then it'd come back. But yeah, this was about 30 to 40 minutes this thing was buzzing about.
So 30 to 40 minutes. Since I didn't mention anything on this video, I'll tell you what I think. Now, let's get a close-up of it. You'll see. Watch.
I mean...
I'll wait.
I can't work out what it is. That's why I sent it to you. See if you can stick out to viewers. See if anyone got any other ideas. But that's all I can give you, really. I'll keep looking, and I'm always seeing stuff, but it's trying to catch them on the camera. They're too bloody fast.
What always amazes me, actually, this is a real weird phenomenon going on. Phenomena that's going on right now. People like this gentleman here, anytime you ask, and I asked one person, I think, and she sent the video over. It was a little late, so I played it on my show. But nonetheless, in the old days, not too long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, but even years ago, a couple of years, but many years ago, it was weird for people to be on camera. It was still kind of a new thing. But I think what's happened is anytime it seems like there's a really good high percent, like 90% of the time that Brent and Blake have asked somebody to record themselves and give testimony, it comes out great. And I think everybody has given their testimony when asked. And we think it's possible because of COVID that people were forced to use Zoom. They were forced to Skype. They were forced to FaceTime. They were forced to do everything on their phone, their tablet, or TV or computer and look at other people a different way. I think people figured out how to use their own devices and are happy to use it. And this guy's like, sure, a camera. Hey, babe, how to use the camera? Oh, wait, I think I got it. Hey, Brent Blake. And then they give their testimony. Just a beautiful time for ufology for that alone. Everything else, I don't know.
Okay, well, thanks, and check you later. Keep up the good work and all, boys.
We've been asking the public a lot to videotape themselves and send us their testimony. It really helps. We appreciate it. It takes a lot of guts coming forward. Now we're looking at the video again. I'm getting the enhancements, trying to slow it down, getting a little closer look and grabbing the best parts of his video. He has about 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of this object. It's been out there for a while, but I'm grabbing the best parts. He was struggling to capture it. He said this thing was moving super fast through the skies, out there in the ocean, next to the windmills. What are we looking at? Some people are already stating that this looks like a kite, but we're gonna get even closer look at it when I slow the video down. Brent, before I do that, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think's going on here?
Yeah, it's just weird. It's over the ocean. Who's out there flying a kite? It's almost impossible. But again, it looks like that. But it's doing these erratic maneuvers and turning and bobbing. Unlike your conventional kite, here's a slow motion, Blake. Getting a good close up.
Oh my
God.
God.
The characteristics of a kite, but look at it as I do a still photograph from it, and we're...
Okay, so here it is. Well, we think it's a remote control kite. You remember the other night? I showed you similar, it looked nothing like this, but there's all different types. All different types. And the way this thing was moving around, there are things called acrobatic drones, stunt drones. And I believe this is a hybrid of a remote control kite drone mixture of some sort. These remote control drones, and I rarely played them, but they can do things like you wouldn't even imagine. I don't know how these guys control these, and they're little. I mean, this is big. So this might be some new remote control kite. Now, wouldn't it be cool to take your remote control kite, and if there's a camera on it, maybe this is the camera, or on the bottom, I don't know, maybe it's embedded somewhere, we just can't see it, and or it's just streaming the live video. Wouldn't it be cool to fly around these turbines? I think it would be great. I would give anything to fly my drone around these things. But you don't see anybody on the ocean. So what this guy is going to do, the witness said he's going to do is, didn't he? I think he's going to go out there, maybe in a boat or somehow he's going out there this weekend. I don't know. I don't remember. But he's going to go see if there's any way somebody could be really far out with their drone. He says it was out there 30 to 40 minutes. 30 minutes is about right for these new drones. 30 minutes would be just about right for a drone, maybe a remote control kite. The times are getting really good on flight times. It's interesting. But it's most like... Now, the weirdest thing about this is it is flying by the turbines. It's moving freakishly weird. It could be an acrobatic stunt drone / remote control kite. Probably the kite. But why get it dangerously close to wind turbines? You run into that thing, goodbye.
We're looking at it closer. You see these cells on it, but we're not seeing, again, it's very bizarre. Underneath,
where's the string?
Where's the string? Who's piloting this thing, or basically who's holding the string out in the middle of the ocean? It's pretty bizarre. And then Dean's description, he basically hasn't seen anything like this in the coastline. You would think he'd know what it is, but
yeah, he's a security guard. He's a reputable source. Look at this close up again. Have you seen any kite like this?
No.
It looks like a drone.
Actually, I did some study on kites today just to see if I could find this, if this is a kite, its model, and I haven't found one that looks exactly like this. I'm not saying it could be a kite, but I'm not saying it isn't.
I don't think it's a kite. You would see the string at this point. And besides, there would be no string around these things. It would be nearly, I don't know how they would do it. Let's just say, I don't know. But, so you want to talk about phosphine on Venus? What if this is some sort of earthly cloud entity that just drifted down? Maybe it's going to die. Maybe it's losing its mind. It is bizarre. It almost looks like a bat mixed with something. I don't know. Like, here's wings. There's the head. Here's the bottom half. Maybe more wings come out. But I don't know. This a tail? Is it wearing diapers? I mean, I don't know. When you see the video, though, you know what it looks like. It just looks like a remote control whatever. I don't know. What else is... we don't have to listen to James Fox.
A kite either. It's weird. Maybe you could help us out and find out.
Yeah, new high-tech sort of kite hybrid that we haven't seen yet.
Absolutely. We're finding out about a lot of things, just like last night's video. Everybody thought this was the big mothership over New Jersey, and we found out within minutes that it was a blimp. So we're able to confirm things. So if anybody out there has seen this kite, or if it is a kite, show me a like kind of it, and maybe we'll solve this mystery. I want to appreciate Dean for sharing us his testimony along with these videos. He asked for help, so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to solve mysteries here. And speaking of mysteries, James Fox has been trying to solve the biggest mystery of them all. And he's got an incredible documentary coming out. And we're excited to share with you this interview that we had with him a few months ago. But we're happy to share it with you now. It's going to be worldwide, digitally available.
October 6th, Blake, and it's looking good. And I like what we saw. We had a sneak peek of this, the phenomenon. So I suggest everybody take a look at this and listen to this interview with James Fox.
The question is no longer if they are here, but why.
What are they doing? What do they want from us? What are their motivations?
南極で UFO を見たことは
Are cases that are not explainable in conventional terms.
That have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things.
Yep.
When we got right up to it, it lit up.
Was this a warning? Was this an attempt to communicate?
Felt scared. I was running and playing, and then I saw this maroon color in the sky.
Greatest story about aliens, in my opinion. Aliens landing across the way near that school. And he interviews them years later now. It's kind of cool.
It was not anything from this earth.
He was looking at all of us. Maybe they're trying to communicate.
They were reaching out to us.
There is an immense array of unanswered questions and an urgent need to get to the bottom of it.
The public has a right to know.
The question is no longer if they are here, but why.
What are they doing? What do they want from us? What are their motivations?
Rendlesham.
For over 75 years, there have been sightings in the sky.
The UFO shut down several missile silos in Montana.
Thousands of witnesses worldwide.
It had to be a data collection. I'm sure they scanned the warhead.
Just kind of hovering there. It never changed its longitudinal axis. And then it goes poof, and it takes off the side.
And high-level cover-ups.
The government was covering up what happened at Roswell.
Hiding these dark secrets. I was told there wasn't anything there when I knew there was.
People need to know there is something else out there.
Yes, there have been visitation, crashed craft, material recovered.
Shouldn't we be spending some money to study all these phenomena?
No.
I knew this was breaking news for the front page of the New York Times.
They were trying to communicate, trying to tell us something.
Now it's time to tell people about it. These things are real. They're here. This is happening now.
Pretty cool. You can watch the rest of that at Third Phase. They interviewed James Fox. Unless you guys want me to play it, I'll play it. Do you want me to play this? It's up to you. It's great. Do you want to... let me know. Do you want me to... I mean, it's a great interview. Third Phase said I could. Well, a long time ago. Before they even knew I was playing it. All right, I know there's a delay, so I'm just waiting to see what you guys want. I'll play the rest of it. It's just sitting there. All right, well, I got something else I'll play then. Play it? DJ, that's an answer. I got one play it. I need at least 3 votes for this. All right, we're playing it. I'm glad you guys said that, because it's really good. All right, I was already away. I was going to the next video for real. Oh, wait, what happened? Hold on. 5, 4, 3, 2.
The Phenomenon, showing in theaters nationwide this September. We're excited to have the filmmaker behind the amazing production known as The Phenomenon. The director, James Fox, is with us, and we're going to go over the 70 years of history, right up to the fresh discoveries that changed everything as we know it. It opens up providing the shocking hidden history that began in the late 40s and 50s when fleets of UFOs appeared in the skies over nearly every state in the US, culminating in a flyover of Washington, D.C. This documentary includes never-before-seen archival footage, and it's beautifully shot with new interviews deploying high-caliber journalism and edge-of-your-seat storytelling that takes audiences on a revelatory journey that leads them to unsettling, unavoidable conclusions that we're not alone. Now, let's get to James. He's with us, and we're live, and we're doing it. James, thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase of Moon.
Thanks for having me on.
You know, it is a pleasure. It's been a few years since you've been on the show, and it's good to have you back. I know you've been busy. You spend some time on these documentaries. You got this new one coming out, The Phenomenon. Let's just get straight to the point. What's the most incredible thing that you're going to find out
when you watch this documentary, we got a sneak peek at it, and you were revealing documents that I've never seen before.
You know, I've had a handful of private screenings, and with some people that have very little to no background on the phenomenon at all. And we're dealing also with close encounters of the third kind, which is an aspect of the phenomenon that I've avoided in the past. But everyone who's walked out of the theater, I think the last screening we had was about 120 people. They didn't say, gosh, I'm not so sure that event actually happened or that landing happened. It's like, oh my God, that's why they're here, or something like this. So I think that, we're, with the help of people like Jacques Vallée, George Knapp, really, really good writers and researchers, we're putting the pieces of the puzzle together to make it presentable to mainstream. And it's working.
When you're bringing out some of the bigwigs like Podesta and other people that worked in the government that are basically stating that there's something out there that we don't know, and you're doing a great job uncovering it. I can't wait for the people to watch this incredible documentary. One of my favorite parts is when you go to Zimbabwe and meet with the kids that had this incredible sighting that just shocked the whole school, where a flying saucer and an alien visited them on the school grounds. What did you make of that when you went to visit these kids years later? You see it in their eyes. Something happened.
Yeah, so let me back up on that one, because I remember hearing about it in the 90s when I was working on my first documentary, UFOs 50 Years of Denial. And I was just naive enough at the time to think that I could get an interview with Steven Spielberg. And we had a mutual friend, this woman, Janet Yang. And she's like, yeah, he's not going to meet with you. But he does want you to know that there was a pretty compelling landing case that took place in Africa. And I thought, yeah, right. I didn't even look into it 1 second further. I just completely walked away from just dismissed it immediately, because I said to myself, there's no way that there could be a landing and occupants getting out in broad daylight with over 100 witnesses that it actually happened. And going to the actual landing site, and funny enough, like, I've had like 5 or 6 different executive producers on this project, as is with most films I've made. And I remember the first guy, I was trying to convince him into, flying all these witnesses in and bringing them together for the first time in 20 years. And he's going, you mean to tell me that flying saucer landed and the occupants bullshit? I said, no, just hold on a second. Look at this compelling film footage back in the 90s of the children. Look, please. So it's been an uphill battle the whole way. And going to Africa and going to the landing site and meeting additional witnesses there and talking to the head mistress, who at the time was a teacher, Judy Bates. It's a slam dunk. That case is absolutely phenomenal.
It brought back the memories of, I remember the story, but the way you retell it and get the new interviews is what's incredible, just to follow up on this experience. And you could see it in their eyes that something happened that they can't explain, and they're still moved by that experience. And I'm kind of jealous. If I were in school, I sure would want that to happen to us. I'm envious of these kids, whether they took it one way or the other. What was your impression? Did they feel humbled and grateful for their experience?
One of the aspects of the encounter, unfortunately, and I don't know why, did not make it into the movie. And that is their description when they were adults and they had time to kind of reflect back on what had happened, and they were obviously more articulate and could, describe in better detail the experience. And they all agreed that if you've ever been out in nature, out in the wilderness, and you have a really, really rare encounter with a wild animal, there's that moment of intrigue and curiosity, that standoff, where it's a benign encounter, but both parties are kind of frozen and curious and just wanting to know and learn. They said that's what it was like with these beings, and that they had these logs that would define the outer perimeter of the playground, that the children were not allowed to go beyond these logs because the grounds weren't maintained, and there were snakes and stuff that could potentially be harmful to the children. So they were allowed to go all the way to these logs. And the children would go, as children, being children, and they would dance and skip along these logs. right at the far edge of the playground. And a couple of the children had recounted that when they were skipping along these logs, the beings were joyfully doing the same thing, sort of mimicking their behavior. And that also didn't. But, it sounds unbelievable. And I would say to anyone out there, I totally get it. If you don't believe this happened, believe me, I didn't believe it. But when you look at the evidence, you look at the testimony, you review previous cases, previous landing cases, there's significant evidence that this event occurred.
It definitely does seem so, and you could kind of feel it in your gut. Now, you've come out with some of these stories, but just because of the stories, you're not only bringing that forward, but you're bringing new evidence forward, paperwork, documents of his reported landing sites. How did you come across some of these reports that have never seen by the public before?
Well, we had tremendous level of participation and help behind the scenes. And I mean, a lot of people were pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes. I mean, like I said, Jacques Vallée has been on board for several years now. He's been bringing out his file cabinets, putting me in touch. All the researchers have made their research and their contacts available to us. It's been, the stars lined up, that's all I can say. And it's just one of those moments where it was a group effort. Everyone got on board and made a miracle happen, is all I can tell you. I don't know how else to say it. Did you watch the film?
I sure did. I got the screener sent to me, and I was fascinated through the whole thing. What really got me is that the level of detail that you go through. How long did it actually take you to edit this, and where did you even think about beginning?
Okay, so 7 years. I've been editing the edit room for 3.5 years, and the version that you're looking at now is about 1/50th as good as the version that's coming out in about a week. And the reason being is we hired, we're doing color correction all the way through, attention to detail to all the lower thirds, all the graphics, all that imagery stuff has been combed through for, 2.5 months now. 2 months. We hired a sound engineer who's won 8 Emmy Awards. He works with James Cameron because this is going to get a theatrical release, and so we decided, and that's one of the reasons why it got delayed a little bit. We didn't submit the film on time, but I figured it was well worth the wait because in the theater there's a certain level of expectation that the audience has, and if you don't deliver on that, they might not be able to pinpoint what it is that bothers them, but something will bother them because, you're in a theater, you expect to be a certain level. So we decided to go ahead and do a complete, which took another 6 weeks. So the version that's coming out in about a week or 10 days is so much tighter. And then all the shots that we desperately tried to get into the film that were just, 10 out of 10 shot, scene, statement, whatever, from around the world, China, from Belgium, from South America. We made a little collection, and then we did a really cool title sequence at the end. So you have titles, then you have statements, then you have titles and statements and montages. It's really, really, really cool. So it's been 7 years, and I'd say at least half of that has been in the edit room and painstakingly going over. Like I laugh oftentimes. People go to tie their shoe when they're watching the film. I'm like, okay, you just missed about 6 months of work because every frame has been carefully thought out. I'm not kidding, really.
Yeah, if it's going to be, as you say, with these improvements, that what's going to be seen on the big screen, from what I already saw, I can't even imagine how much better it could get. But this sounds pretty exciting. I'm hoping maybe I could get it on the big screen myself. Let me ask you, it was kind of perfect timing now with the DOD admitting that they were doing an investigation into the UFO phenomenon for approximately, I'm not sure, what was it, about 10 years, $20 million. And now they're admitting that there's something in the skies that they don't know what's going on. And you integrate this new news and this new secret program of the investigation into the documentary. How did it all come to fruition when you started working on it 7 years ago and this new information that's coming out?
Well, we were in the depths of editing. And in fact, I think I might have maybe either just got back from Australia or maybe I got back from Africa. I can't remember. But in any case, that New York Times article dropped at the end of 2017. And that was a huge big deal. And it was like, oh, okay, wow. I had a kind of a feeling that something good was going to happen before the end of this film, but I didn't think it was going to be this good. So I had to go back to the investors and say, guys, we got to take another year. We got to document this whole development. And so we went after the key players, and that took some time, and it was quite tenuous at best at times. But we miraculously pulled that one off. I mean, getting an interview with Senator Harry Reid and the stuff that he says on camera, that was a wow moment for me, because I don't know if you recall, I call it the plastic water bottle moment, where I asked him a pretty profound question. It's something that we've all suspected has been going on, and he takes a moment, undoes the cap, takes a sip, puts the cap back on, and then delivers the punchline, which was, I mean, I had to pinch myself sitting down at the time, because that's about as close to disclosure as I've ever heard.
Yeah, you're gonna have to see the movie to find out this punchline. But let me tell you, it's a jaw dropper. And what's incredible to me as well is that the information that's getting out, and that we're all on board, and that's what we at Third Phase of Moon's about, is getting the information out as fast as possible. But to sit on a project for 7 years is something that's, takes some time and a lot of patience. But you did it right. You got the information coming in. Have you got any kind of pushback, any kind of warnings not to come out with this documentary?
No, we know that we're stepping on some pretty big toes. I know that Senator Harry Reid got a lot of pushback from the intelligence communities when he wanted to launch ATIP and put some funding into the whole phenomenon. But we have some pretty significant people behind us on this film, so I feel kind of a lot more comfortable, at ease about it all. And I think there's a certain level of participation that's happening for whatever reason. One could speculate. I think there's a handful of people that think that it's time for this reality to come out. It seems to be coming out. And like I said, the stars aligned, and we got unprecedented level of participation at all government and military people. And now we're getting a theatrical release, which is just, it's been a lifelong dream of mine. I tried with the last 4 documentaries on the topic to do this, and looks like we finally succeeded.
Well, let me tell you, getting to the big screen's no easy feat. We did it last year, and the DCP process, the VPF fees, and the whole aspect of it is monstrous, just even try and comprehend getting the film into the big screen. But congrats on that, and I'm sure these improvements are going to make it an incredible experience to watch it on the big screen. Let me ask you this: do you think now that we have the 6th military branch, the Space Force, we're going to be even getting more of these videos coming in from the State Department, the DOD, or are they going to keep it silent? Because even these videos sounds like it's the tip of the iceberg.
Well, funny enough, I didn't realize this when we got former Deputy Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, Christopher Mellon, which was months of back and forth before we finally made that happen. And I didn't know when I went to meet with him in D.C. that he was instrumental in getting those tapes out of the Pentagon. And they didn't break the law, but they bent the rules, they found a loophole, and they walked them out of the Pentagon. But there are so many more, from what I'm told, that haven't been released. Really good, unambiguous, wonderful shots and film footage. I know that the Navy confirmed that those were bona fide, unidentified aerial phenomena, but they said that we would not have released them to the public. I'm very curious to know who can actually authorize it, because one of the things I keep learning over and over again is that it doesn't even seem that our elected representatives have control of this. It's kind of baffling to me. It's like, well, who has the authority to have this stuff released? And everyone's like, oh, well, the president, but I don't think he does. I'm not sure who does. And I'm not sure what it's going to take to get the real good evidence out of there. Because I can tell you, the stuff that we have is good, that we're featuring in the film, but the stuff that's not been released is like, landings. I know it. They have footage of landings. I know they do.
This is what the world is waiting for. Sure, these videos are compelling, but it sounds like what they have that they're not sharing with us would be basically smoking gun proof. I'm just wondering if there's some kind of possible whistleblower, if the program would actually work for in some kind of case like this. I know it involves national security at points when they're shutting down nuclear missiles when they have UFO encounters. So there might be a national security.
Ah, look at this. That looks like half of that UFO we just saw. Right? Where are we? Watch. Right? It's this half. No? Or is it this half? Where is it? No. Right after that.
The world is waiting for it. Sure, these videos are compelling, but it sounds like what they have that they're not sharing with us would be basically smoking gun proof. I'm just wondering if there's some kind of possible whistleblower, if the program would actually work for in some kind of case like this. I know it involves national security at points when they're shutting down nuclear missiles when they have UFO encounters.
Right? Man, that's wow. You know, sometimes I gotta step back and yeah, except this one was a kite. Right?
So there might be a national security issue, but then there is that Whistleblower Protection Act. I'm just wondering if that would be the avenue that maybe someone could take and get these videos released.
You know, I think that with films like The Phenomenon and efforts coming from from us, the people, arming people with information and educating them as to what's been going on. A lot of people think that, oh, it's obviously just some sort of new phenomenon. And that's one of the reasons why I went into the historical perspective, not to bore the UFO community with more, stuff. We put a lot of new, great, wonderful material in archive material, but I did it because if we were to penetrate a much broader audience, a much more mainstream audience, one would have to assume that they don't have the information, the background history on the topic to even remotely consider the likelihood of the landing at Rua, Zimbabwe. So we felt more than just compelled, we felt it was mandatory for us to cover the history. We kind of jokingly called it eating our spinach when we were doing it. Eat your spinach, audience. So we had just the right amount of spinach so we can educate the population better as to what's been going on in the shift in policy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Why the secrecy and how the secrecy and how the secrecy. You know that programs like ATIP that ended up on the front page of Graham, nor will it be the last.
Oh, that's it. Okay. I think, well, that was great, actually. I get a little antsy when something's playing more than 1 minute. I do. I just, that was a great interview, and we needed to hear that. Don't forget, Third Phase coming up at top of the hour. We've only got about 40 minutes, so I'm gonna play this. You never get to see UFOs from another country, like China. Let's have a little fun. I only watched it to make sure there was a UFO, so this is what goes on over there.
ので、そこだけはちょっと勘違いしないでください。南極観測隊も未確認飛行物体と。
What he's saying is, I saw this object up in the sky. It was real hard to see. Blah blah blah.
とか、そういうのをね調べたりとか、そういうのはしてないので、秘密
So I grabbed the camera. I know that.
の実験とかそういうのも何もないです。なので、
I don't even believe in UFOs, he said.
勘違いしないで最後まで聞いてください。南極で UFO を見たことありますか
Then he said, but I went outside and I looked up and saw the UFO.
っていう質問よく来ます。南極で UFO を見たことはあります。
He said, so I want to show you what I caught on camera. Here it is.
未確認飛行物体ね。それは見たことあります。何なのかわからないから。
Don't hold it against me if it's too shaky.
未確認飛行物体ですね。UFO で間違いないと思う。ただそれが
A lot of times people they don't want to believe it, but I believe it.
その中に宇宙人が乗ってるのかっていうのを聞かれると、それはどうかなと思う。
I choose to believe because I know what I saw. That may sound weird.
鳥かもしれないし、もしかしたらね。
But you take a look at the video.
何かのものに空気の層とかさ、なんかそこに光が反射したとかもあるし。
Because when I held the camera, I had to block the sun.
何なのかはわからないけど見たことはあります。じゃあ。
Yeah, he speaks in a different what do you call it?
喋っててもあれなんでどんどん見せていきましょう。まず1枚目、まずは緩いのからお見せしていきます。まずこれ、はい、これはね南極を
So he said, okay, I'm going to show you right now.
さんがクレーン車に乗って仕事を
So I'm looking up and I just see this dot and it's not moving.
してる時ですね。このクレーン車乗ってると上見上げてるんですよ。このブーム、このね写真に写ってるブームの先を見上げてるの。
It wasn't moving. It just stayed same. I made sure not to move, so it didn't move.
ので空をよく見てることがあるんですよ。ポチッと白い丸。
My girlfriend Yoko was with me and she saw it too.
わかりますか？ここですね。はい。写真
I'm circling it.
で見ると一つの塊に見えるけど実際は3、4、5ぐらいの塊で。
Said it stayed there for a pretty long time.
V の字になってね、一定方向に進んでたんですよ。で、その V の字がこういう。
He says, is it a balloon? Is it a kite? Is it a drone? No.
こういう風に進んでて、先頭はいる。
When you look through the binoculars, it had a point.
変わらないんですよ。ただ一定で動いてる。で、この後ろの隊列がこういう風にね、左右入れ替わるんですよ。
It kind of crisscrossed, and I couldn't understand why it was crisscrossing. It didn't make sense.
変わりながら進んでいく。だからこういってこうですね。
Yeah, it was crisscrossing, crossing.
こういう感じで進んでたんですよ。でこれね iPhone5 で撮ったから当時ちょっとね画質がすごい悪いです。ごめんなさい。
It's not the moon, he said. It's not Venus.
だからこれはね UFO かって言われるとわからない。
This has to be one of the worst UFO sightings in the history of UFO sightings. This is what they're giving us from China.
双眼鏡で見た人は白く見えてるやつが銀色だったそうです。
You can see it's there, he says. This is not CGI.
2枚目。じゃあこれは南極おじさんがオーロラを撮ってる時に後から気づいたやつ、後で見返してて分かったやつですね。でこの左上のこの円を描いてるやつ、弧を描いてるやつね。
He said you could see here at 30 frames a second as this camera was recording the aurora borealis, it tracked the UFO. This is not elliptical.
これはすごい速さで動いて
It is not a satellite.
た人工衛星だと思います。でそのちょっと上に右上あたりにあるピロピロっと動いてるやつね。これちょっとズームしてみましょう。
Kochinawa, we can have it. Kochinawa, haya. Icha, poki. Chikai, kochimai. Tuka.
これ
Tukansam.
これもね謎といえば謎なんです。
Konenone, zidona, zisonanes. That's an airplane. You can see it. It's right there. It looks like an aeroplane that hovers. This is pretty bad. Here's another one.
これはね4秒ぐらいで連写してたんですね。4秒撮ってまた4秒撮っての連写で1000枚ぐらい撮ってて。
It says it's got real close. Looks like it's on a wire.
その中の1枚です。で次の
He said my bursitis was acting up.
写真には写ってないんですよこれ。ねだからこの4秒間。
No, it wasn't bursitis.
なんでバッと動いてて人工衛星だって言ったらもうどうなのかなっていう気はするけど。
He said it's not a kite at night. Nobody would fly this anyway here.
こんなね綺麗に円を描いてるからまあ人工衛星だと思います。3枚目これは昭和基地の19広場っていうところから海の方を撮った凍った海ね。その上に
Here you can see acrobatic movement. Wow. Actually, this is kind of interesting. But I'm not good with... He is using a different dialect that I'm used to. I use the Italian version of Chinese.
オーロラが出てたので
Who is this piloted by? We Too Law? We Too Law? Huh, I've heard of that guy.
撮った写真ですね。その中でこれも4秒、左上にすごい強く光ってるものがあるじゃないですか。
Look at this. That is a delta shape. That's a triangle. Yo.
それのこの4秒間に動いた軌跡が残ってるんですよね。最初の方はぐるーっと動いて、もうあっちゃこっちゃい。
He said the camera was completely still in a harness on a tripod. It can't move. This is true movement.
で最後グイーンと、こっちに戻ってきてるのか、それとも上から下に行ったのかはわからないけど、すごい
He said you can see how it took off.
動き回ってる。でこれね、人がここにつけてるライトあるでしょ、ヘッドライト。それだとね、人も映るんですよ。人の形、透明になってね、ここには映ってないし、そもそも高さ的に無理なんです。
He said it was right in front of my face. I could see it easily through the scope. And when I saw it, I saw a delta-shaped craft, almost triangular.
ですよね。人が届く高さではない。で他の
This is impossible movement.
ものはブレてないでしょ、他の星。これ合成でも何でもないですからね。そんなしょうもないことやらないです。なんだろうっていう、それだけですね。これ見て、これの場合はね、この光った物体も映ってるから、これも未確認飛行物体です。
That's right. I speak Klingon. Interesting to get a video from Jida. What's this?
静止衛星ですよね、これだと。でこれが次の写真、
right here.
これです。こっちから見て左に高速移動してってるの分かりますね。ちょっとアップにします。はい、こういう風にね、すごい速さで動いてるでしょ。と尾を引いてるでしょ。さっきは止まってたので、この次またもうスピードが緩めたのか止まってんのかわからないけど、止まってるような感じで強い光になってますよね。最初と比べてみますか。最初は右から6本目の上に、数秒後には左から。
He said he took this picture and then a minute later took this one, and he said it looks like it turned around and moved more to the right.
4本目5本目のところに移動してまた止まってると。でこの後ね、もう一番左の上、また左に移動してっていうの分かりますか。こういう感じで
Nathan's going tonight. All right. See you later, Nathan.
左にシュッと移動してってるんですよ。でもこれはね、撮ってる時は気づいてない。
He said then it went to the left, to the right, and it took off.
強い光だから気づくと思うんだけど気づいちゃいないんですよね。こういう感じで南極ではね、未確認飛行物体。
And he says you can see by the aurora borealis how much it has moved in relation to the object. It's an interesting video. He's a good-looking guy.
1年半滞在してても
Somebody get this guy some powder. Ma! No. No. And one more for the road. We got one more. There's one more? All right, let me grab it. Hold on. Old Yeller on YouTube? What the hell? Oh. No, we'll do that in a second. I got two more. How about, do we do, okay, I got 4 to choose from. Former CIA officer explodes on Secretary Esper. Get the hell out of the Pentagon. Weird high school baseball fields. A breakdown with 5 points videos. Or a thorough exploration of the Great Sphinx of Egypt in 2015. And finally, Mars ship confirmed from space, part 3, new images from Art Alien TV. What do you guys want? It does. He's got a little Mandalorian accent, I noticed too. GP for my bungle. All right, what do you want? You got 4 options. I know, there's a 20-second delay right now for some reason. Sphinx, that's 1. I need 3 answers. Shh. Phenomenon. Do 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 do. Phenomenon. Do 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 do. All right. Sphinx it is. Sphincter, sphincter, sphincter. I don't know how long this is. Let's see. All right, it's 12 minutes. I'll do 3 minutes. And then I got one more after this. And then I'll do the Old Yeller. We're going to end with Old Yeller. You're going to love it. 3 minutes, 2.5. Here we go. All the links will be in the description after the show has been processed and uploaded to YouTube's. Could be 12 hours, could be 30 minutes. All that stuff. Oh, it's not on, sorry. Oh yeah, there it is. Wow, this is real video right here. Look at this. You can't even put your credit card in between the lines there.
So we have been here before with Dr. Robert Chuck. He's the most famous geologist. Everyone know him. And he explained for us how he sees this through geology. And we have also Susan with us, who was going to be our techno-spiritual geologist from this day further. And what we want to say basically that the horizontal erosion that we see here is not the water erosion, because it descends, as you can see. It goes lower with the level, and this can...
He said it's not? Water erosion not?
And what we want to say basically that the horizontal erosion that we see here is not the water erosion, because it descends, as you can see. It goes lower with the level, and this cannot be water, basically because water levels itself. And that the vertical erosion we see here in the all this area and here in the back down here, this is the real water erosion from rainwater that never been the climate of the Sahara here, of the desert here, as he said, 9,700 BC.
Is the conservative estimate for when the water erosion occurred?
This is when that weather was not here, 9,700.
In other words, it's been desert conditions since then.
Exactly.
And also the rounded nature is... When he first came here with John Anthony West in 1992 and looked up here, he said, this is clear textbook evidence of water erosion, rounded layer. And now we know further from the tour he just did with the Kemet tour, he explained on video that he has mapped every stratigraphic layer of here, every different layer, because limestone, as Susan will attest to, forms heterogeneous, not homogeneous. You have hard layer, softer layer, harder layer, softer layer, harder layer, and he mapped the erosion for every layer, and he can date what time it was eroded on. And so we have come up with an estimate that there was an event here 30,000 years ago known as the Mousterian subpluvial, only time it rained that much in Africa, to cause this type of erosion. And I discussed that with Susan last year, that we should have a benchmark here at least 30,000 years. And off record, Dr. Schock said to Yusuf it could be 80,000 years.
Oh my God! So it could have been here between 30 and 80,000 years.
What do you think, Susan?
What we also want to do this is how does this dates the Sphinx? Because the same water erosion is in the body of the Sphinx. Yes.
So that means that just basically that the water erosion of the Sphinx dates it to being at least
9,700
BC.
Geology, and I go by the paleoclimatology record, which says 30,000 years ago.
But that would mean that it was sculpted at least 5,000 years prior to the dynastic Egyptians being in existence in this area.
Correct. Exactly.
Okay. And Susan?
These are all limestones. You can see the difference in here. This one up here, you can see corals, shells, various things. It was almost a reefal material, whereas this would be a muddy limestone. This back into a more competent limestone, and that is the natural way that the rock will erode. Those vertical ones are not the natural way the rock will erode. That is from water erosion, whereas this is the normal way it will erode.
So what we can see is the fact that this massive sculpture has been repaired over and over and over. probably through the dynastic times and all the way through to the 20th century, which makes it a complete mess if you want to...
So that means the Egyptians just walked up on this shit. It was already there. Pretty sneaky, sis.
Figure out the original design. But what is clearly obvious is as we go up, you see the erosion layers. You see how heavy the erosion is. There's another repair. But when you get to the head, you can see that the head is barely eroded. And that clearly indicates that the head was recarved long after this erosion took place. As well, there are many accounts through history, including, I believe, during the dynastic times, where this, which is called the Sphinx enclosure, was filled with sand. And so, over the hundreds of years, the Sphinx was dug out, the sand was taken away, but then the wind would blow the sand back in. So that means that for a high percentage of the time, the Sphinx's body was covered in sand, and the sand would protect it from wind erosion, and yet the head would have been exposed above that surface. So the fact that the face and the head are not highly eroded clearly indicates that the Sphinx's head was recarved at least once afterwards, after all the erosion, possibly many times. So you can't identify the age of the Sphinx itself with the face that is being portrayed, because the face was supposedly the representation of one of the so-called pharaoh's mothers. He had the face recarved. Another curious thing is that people are looking for what are called the halls of records, or the hall of records underneath the Sphinx.
Right.
And it's no coincidence that this boardwalk here has been put in place. It's not simply there in order for people to walk on it so they don't get their shoes dirty.
Of course not.
But we've been told by an inside source that the opening or entrance to the tunnel system under the Sphinx is under this boardwalk. So the reason why this is called the Sphinx enclosure is because the bedrock was cut out.
All right. One more video. We got extra on that one because that was pretty wild to hear. I enjoyed that. So it'll be in the link in the description when the show's over. One more video. This is called Old Yeller. I hope you enjoy this. It's comedy. Well, it's reality is what it is.
You have no business doing that.
Well, this is my business. I'm the cart narc.
No, I don't give a shit.
There's always a choice between right and wrong.
Cart narcs.
And that's wrong. Whoop, skip, whoop, 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 whoop. That's not where the cart goes, sir. That's blocking the spot.
What's that?
This cart's just blocking the spot now.
Cartons are... park here?
No, I'm saying
park here?
Somebody may, though.
Well, that's their problem then, okay?
But you just made it their problem when it...
No, you know, this cart was here.
Ah.
Okay, and I put that one.
The old...
I don't want to start any bullshit.
I just want to have a conversation real quick. It's the old two wrongs don't make a right argument. May I use one of my great cart narc analogies, sir?
No.
What if I just decided to masturbate in this parking lot? Would that make it right for you to do the same thing?
Maybe.
What do you mean, maybe? That's disgusting, sir.
Yeah, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not a good thing. I feel like you're reveling...
Enjoy your day.
You're making it harder because I'm the cart narc, so this is my job to narc people out. All right, well, we got these bumper magnets, sir. They're to shame lazy bones.
Damn it, what'd you put that on my car for?
Because you left your cart out, and that's what it says. It says, I don't return my shopping cart like a jerk, and it's got our phone number, though. You can call us and give us some... Oh, it's on the ground. It's littering. Here, let me help you out. I can reapply it.
God damn it, man. I went to the grocery store.
Right.
I came here.
I'm following.
And I don't need your bullshit.
But see, sir.
Okay?
You started with the BS, not me.
No, you did.
Sir,
you know why you did? Because you asked me about the fucking cart. That's why.
Why would I do that?
Because I didn't park it in the thing.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
Okay. I know I didn't.
But
okay? And I didn't feel like walking over there, okay?
But don't you want to be a better person? Sir? There's a chance to be like, Jesus and Gandhi and MLK. They would take their carts back.
Don't put it on my car, okay?
But I don't feel like
you have no business doing that.
But this is my business. I'm the cart
No,
narc.
I don't give a shit.
It's in my job title.
I don't give a shit.
It is literally my business.
No. You're paid for that?
Yes, sir.
How much you make?
Well, sir, that's confidential, but it's...
Oh, it is,
I'm not asking you your salary.
No, I'm not. You have no idea what I do.
That's why I didn't ask. Yeah, knock it off, is what he's saying. This guy... Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I got it under control, though. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, yeah, the guy says he doesn't... I have no idea. He said knock it off and don't yell at me, basically.
Does he even know what the fuck happened here?
I think he'd feel really bad for me if he did, because he did...
You want me to go in and tell him what happened?
You're going to tell him you've been a lazy bones?
I don't give a shit what I tell him. I'll tell him.
That's the truth.
Damn it.
Sir, can I ask...
All I want to do is go home. I didn't need your fucking expertise on this.
Well, this is why we're here. We're here to help people out who need our expertise.
You know what?
What?
You know what I'll do?
What?
I'll be a great guy. I'm going to put both of those carts back in.
That's awesome.
Okay?
Will
you leave me alone?
Absolutely. This is amazing, sir. I really do appreciate you coming around on this. That's very nice of you. I'll watch your car while you're gone if you want me to.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. I think I do need to because you didn't close your door properly. But no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I trust you, sir. You've clearly become a better person in this short span of, I don't know, 2.5, 3 minutes or so. It just goes to show you, cart narketeers. Persistence pays off. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
That was amazing. No.
Two-handed, too. That's a skilled maneuver. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Where's he
Cart
put
narcs
it?
out.
That was the best cart narcs I think I've ever seen. That was amazing. It really was. Old Yeller. Cart narcs. God, I love that. That was fun. That was fun. Hey. Where is it? What? It's not here. Oh, here it is. Anyway, that's it. Third Phase got a show coming up in a premiere in 15 minutes. Thank you, moderators, super chatters, veterans, and newcomers. Thank you for hanging out with GUFON tonight. It was a little fun. A little bit. We'll be back tomorrow. Maybe an update on the family business. My God. All right, we'll be back tomorrow, and if you want to donate to the show, just check in any of the show descriptions if you feel, you want to help GUFON do this full time. My God, wouldn't that be great? All right, see you tomorrow. If you ain't looking up, you ain't looking out. Giddy up, everybody. Have a good one.